The story starts in the city of Leda. Dedak assists a mechanic in repairing a tractor and listens to the radio. He overhears that the world is facing a crisis due to solar storms altering the temperature. The mechanic dismisses this as nonsense and suggests that instead, they're dealing with an alien invasion. Meanwhile, a teenager named Alba rides her motorbike to visit her father, Dara, climatologist. She records a video diary about her day. Inside a cave, she meets her father, who is working there. They discuss the unexpected temperature changes. Alba asks Dara to say something for her video diary, and he talks about the importance of his research and taking care of the environment. Later, Alba heads into the city and meets Dedak and his mother, Trini. Alba teaches English to Dedak, and Trini asks about his progress. Alba praises Dedak for being a good listener. As they talk, a group of teenagers begins bullying Dedak. Trini scares them off. After visiting the city, Alba goes back home and finds her father preparing to leave for Barcelona. They have a short conversation, but Dara has to leave in a rush. He tries to hug Alba, but she refuses because his hands are dirty, which hurts Dara. The next day, Dedak's bullies attempt to throw him into a lake. Alba tries to intervene, but she fails, and Dedak is thrown into the water. Alba jumps in after him just as a solar storm hits, turning the sky crimson. She saves Dedak, and they make their way back home. Along the way, they see the destruction caused by the storm. Dedak finds his mother dead under some debris, and Alba comforts him. They walk through the snow to Dara's cave, where they find supplies. The next morning, they leave the cave and return to Alba's house, which has been destroyed. They decide to stay at Dara's farmhouse. Alba tries using the phone and laptop, but both are broken. Luckily, the solar charger is still functional. Alba tries calling Dara, but he doesn't answer, which makes her feel sad. Because of this, they decide to go outside and search for help. Outside, Alba and Dedak notice how empty and unsettling the city has become. Dedak gets curious and goes to a police car where he finds a gun in the trunk. He shows it to Alba, quickly tells him to put it back. Suddenly, Alba decides they should go to Barcelona. Alba tries riding a motorcycle, but Dedak pushes her from behind, causing her to crash into rubble. She injures her side on a piece of metal, causing her to bleed. Dedak apologizes, and they agree to return to Alba's home. That night, Alba wakes up because her wound is painful. After cleaning it, she looks through old photos and becomes emotional. The next day, Alba reads her father's diary for the first time. She learns that Dara was correct about Earth giving warning. She starts another video diary, saying it helps keep her sane. She also admits she's upset that no one has come to rescue them. She stops the recording abruptly. That night, Alba gets a fever, and Dedak takes care of her. He tries to talk to her, but she doesn't respond. So Dedak checks her wound and finds out it's infected. Alba weakly tells him she needs antibiotics, so Dedak plans to go get some. But before he can leave, Alba stops him and says she'll get them herself because it's dangerous outside. Out of curiosity, Dedak places his hand on Alba's chest to feel her heartbeat. Alba feels weak and falls back to sleep. Dedak kisses her forehead and asks her not to leave him. Without hesitation, he heads out to retrieve the antibiotics. Though he's scared, he gathers his courage and rides his bike to get the medicine. At dawn, Dedak returns with the medicine and gives it to Alba, hoping she'll recover soon. Then he goes back to his old home, feeling sad about what he's lost. Afterward, he sneaks into the mechanic's garage to check the tractor. The next morning, Alba wakes up feeling better. While inspecting her wound, she sees Dedak waking up and feels relieved. He hugs her immediately and kisses her cheek. After he lets go, Alba asks him to check her wound. Dedak tells her that it's healed, though it has left a big scar. Despite this, Alba remains positive and tells Dedak that she likes scars and tattoos because they tell good stories. That night, Alba continues her video diary, mentioning her plans to go to Barcelona. However, she worries that she and Dara may miss each other when they get there. By morning, Dedak has a nightmare. He wakes up calling for Alba. She's not there. When he sees blood on the bedsheet, he panics, thinking something terrible has happened to her. He jumps up and denies it. When Dedak notices blood on her thighs, he asks her about it. Alba explains that it's because of her period. Dedak, unfamiliar with the concept, listens as Alba explains it. When he learns that Alba can have children, Alba gives a vague response and splashes him with water playfully. Didac splashes her back, and they play in the water for a moment, unaware that her top has become see-through. Didac, intrigued, reaches out to touch her chest. Alba swats his hand away, telling him it's inappropriate, and orders him to go home. Few days later, Didac is practicing shooting, but the sound startles Alba and she quickly stops him. She asks where he got the gun. Didac says he found it in a police car. Alba tells him to get rid of it because she doesn't want him to get hurt. Didac insists he needs to practice to protect their home. Alba finds this ridiculous and firmly tells him to put the gun away. Didac complies but walks away in frustration. After 3 months, Alba's hope for rescue begins to fade. As a result, the two of them learn to become self-sufficient through Dara's survival guide. Throughout their journey, Alba documents their progress with her video diary. She treats her camera like her closest friend, revealing how they adapt to their new circumstances. Years pass, and many things change, especially Didac. He transforms into a strong, dependable, and attractive young man. These changes don't go unnoticed by Alba, and she begins to feel something strange for him. Didac, too, starts to view Alba in a new light. One afternoon, Didac stands on the edge of the water tank, scanning the area with his binoculars. His attention shifts to Alba, who is watering the plants. He watches as Alba disrobes and pours water over herself to cool off Didac to help her knead dough. As Didac is inexperienced, Alba shows him how, and the close contact leads to a brief but innocent touch. Unable to control his feelings, Didac kisses Alba suddenly before running off. Alba is shocked, but a small smile forms on her lips. Later that night, a powerful storm wreaks havoc on their garden. Alba tries to save the plants, but the damage is severe. As a result, the two decide to leave the next day. While using her phone, Alba is surprised to discover that Didac has successfully restored the tractor. Overjoyed, she hugs him. After packing their things, the two set off for Barcelona. Upon reaching the city, Didac honks the tractor's horn while Alba tries calling her father. Despite their efforts to make their presence known, there's no sign of Dara. Alba becomes emotional, and Didac consoles her. Alba confides in him, expressing her regret over not hugging her father when he left. She tells Didac they might never find him. Didac remains hopeful and encourages her to keep searching. Alba smiles and eventually agrees. They make their way to the center of the town but find no survivors. Eventually, they reach Barcelona's famous Camp Nou stadium, where they decide to rest for a while. Despite its ruined state, Didac excitedly walks inside and marvels at it. He grabs a football and begins showing off his skills. Alba watches him with joy and encourages him. When Didac takes a shot at the goal, Alba tells him she'll record it as a core memory. When he scores, Didac celebrates with his signature pose. His exposed body catches Alba's attention, and she accidentally drops the phone. Before things get awkward, she quickly picks it up. That evening, a tension fills the air, so Alba starts a conversation with Didac. Though they chat, their attraction is undeniable. Eventually, Alba kisses Didac, and he reciprocates. This leads to them spending the night together. A few days later, they leave the city and start a new life by the sea. While building their new home, Alba announces that she is pregnant. Overjoyed, Didac lifts her and hugs her tightly. To prepare for the baby, Alba visits an abandoned library to collect books on motherhood. Didac, on the other hand, gathers toys for their unborn child. On reuniting, he checks on Alba and asks what she's reading. Alba explains that she's searching for potential names for the baby. Didac suggests the name Mar. Alba prefers Kai, explaining that it means sea in Hawaiian and is gender neutral. As time passes, Alba's pregnancy becomes more noticeable, and her due date approaches. One night, while reading her father's diary, a sudden sharp pain interrupts Alba, signaling the onset of labor. Despite the discomfort, she gathers her strength and calls out to Didac. She informs him that the baby is coming, and Didac quickly helps her into a comfortable position for childbirth. As Alba lies down, Didac stays calm and guides her through her breathing. Even the next morning, as the couple tends to their newborn son, Alba notices a boat approaching the shore. Excited at the possibility of meeting other survivors, Alba rushes to investigate, but Didac remains skeptical, insisting they don't need anyone else. Despite his reluctance, Alba sets Kai down in his crib and runs toward the boat, hoping to make contact. However, when she reaches the shore, there's no response. Instead, she spots an unconscious man lying in the sand. Thinking it could be her father, Alba quickly checks on him, with Dedak close behind. Upon further inspection, Dedak realizes the man is not Dara. When the man regains consciousness, he explains that he ended up on their shore by accident. He expresses his relief at finding the couple and their child, admitting he thought he was the last survivor. The man praises the couple's home and shares stories about the island he has been living on. He tells them that most of his time was spent sailing in search of other survivors. Intrigued by his stories, Alba invites the man to stay with them, but Dedak's disapproval is clear, even though he says nothing. Sensing Dedak's reluctance, the man politely declines, insisting that he'll continue living on his boat. Before departing, the man asks for a hug, explaining that he hasn't experienced human contact in a long time. Moved by his request, Alba and Dedak embrace him. After a few days of getting to know the couple, the man helps them improve their survival skills. The particular folk explains that he was only checking on Alba and intended to offer her some honey to ease her discomfort from breastfeeding. Alba appreciates the gesture and listens as the man explains that the honey is special because it was produced by bees that feed on a rare flower resembling a rooster's comb. Though Alba shows interest in the man's story, Dedak remains cold and tells him that his boat is ready, hinting that it's time for him to leave. Hearing this, the man's cheerful demeanor fades, but he announces that he'll be departing soon. Before he leaves, however, he invites the couple to a small party on his boat to show his gratitude for their hospitality and to celebrate the continuation of humanity. Overjoyed, Alba agrees to the invitation. Later that night, Alba and the man enjoy themselves on the boat while Dedak sulks nearby, reluctant to participate. The man then surprises them by revealing a vintage movie projector, allowing the couple to watch a film for the first time in years. The next day, Dedak wakes up first and immediately senses something is wrong. As he gets up, he realizes they've drifted too far from the shore. Frantically tries to wake Alba, but before she can react, the man punches Dedak, sending him tumbling into the water. The loud splash wakes Alba, and she panics, fearing for Dedak's life. Just like before, Alba prepares to dive in and save Dedak. The man tries to stop her, but Alba is determined. He jumps in and manages to pull Dedak from the water, but in the chaos they lose track of their son as the man sails away. Heartbroken, they return to their home, devastated by the loss of Kai. They sit by the shore, staring at the water and longing for their child. Fueled by newfound determination, Alba vows to rescue Kai. The next day, the couple heads to the abandoned library to search for clues about the man's island. However, Alba grows frustrated, feeling lost in the overwhelming amount of information. While helping Dedak repair a boat, Alba suddenly notices the rooster emblem on the boat's door, reminding her of the man's story about his bees. Realizing the connection, they return to the library and scour through books on botany. Finally, Alba discovers the flower the man mentioned, pinpointing the location of his island. At dawn, they set out on their journey to reclaim their son. Upon reaching the island, they hear Kai's cries and follow the sound to the man's stronghold. Alba peers through a gap in the wall, searching for their son. Instead spots the man. Filled with anxiety, Alba urges Dedak to shoot him, but Dedak hesitates, worried that the man may not be alone, and that they could be overpowered. Moments later, the man steps out and heads to his bee farm, giving the couple a chance to follow Kai's cries. Alba sneaks into a tent and finds Kai locked in a cage. She tries to break the lock but fails, so she searches the area for keys. Meanwhile, Dedak stands guard outside, buying Alba time. After rummaging through a tray, Alba finally finds a set of keys and rushes back to the babe. Unfortunately, none of the keys work. Frustrated, Alba joins Dedak outside and tells him about the situation. Furious, Dedak insists on switching roles. While Alba keeps watch, Dedak sneaks inside to search for the keys. However, Alba becomes distracted by Kai's cries, and the man sneaks up behind her, grabbing her. At the same moment, Dedak emerges and sees Alba in the man's grasp. Helpless, Dedak complies with the man's demands, and they are both captured and tied up in hammock. As the man secures them, he tells Dedak that he had hoped to build a harmonious relationship with them. Admits that he dislikes Dedak. Enraged, Dedak threatens to kill him, only making the man angrier. Before things escalate, Alba pleads with the man to let her and her son go, promising to welcome him into their family. The man accepts her offer and frees her, but he quickly reminds her that she must follow his rules or face the consequence. Trembling, Alba complies and follows him to where Kai is being held. Inside the tent, she hurriedly approaches her son. The man stops her. He tells Alba that she needs to let Kai cry sometimes and comments that his cries sound like music. Alba remains silent, so the man hands her the key. She rushes to unlock the cage and cradles Kai in her arms. As she nurses him, the man watches with unsettling intensity, making Alba feel deeply uncomfortable. He leaves the tent with a smirk on his face. While the man returns to taunt Dedak, Alba seizes the opportunity to escape with Kai. When the man realizes they're gone, he yells after them. Dedak urges Alba to keep running. Instead of chasing them, the man mocks Dedak, provoking him further. Dedak retaliates by spitting at the man, which only enrages him more. The man tortures Dedak with a pair of pliers, causing Dedak to scream in pain, halting Alba's escape. Hearing Dedak's cries, Alba freezes in her tracks. Moments later, Dedak passes out from the pain, and the man begins searching for Alba. Alba hides under a large tree root, trying to calm Kai, whose cries grow louder. The man follows the sound of Kai's voice, but discovers it's coming from a recording on Alba's video camera. He rushes back to his stronghold, furious. Meanwhile, Alba returns to Dedak and tries to free him. Struggling, Dedak asks her for a knife, but before they can execute their plan, the man returns unexpectedly. Terrified, Alba apologizes to Dedak and heads back toward the tent. Dedak urges her to stay. The man demands that Alba return Kai to his crib and accuses her of betrayal. As punishment, he shoots Alba in the leg. As Alba collapses from the pain, the man turns his attention to Dedak. He taunts Dedak, enjoying his suffering. Despite the pain, Dedak struggles to free himself and manages to grab a small knife from his pocket. With a burst of adrenaline, he lunges at the man, stabbing him in the back. The man retaliates, knocking Dedak down. Alba, wounded and in pain, reaches for the gun and shakily points it at the man. Unfazed, he advances toward her, mocking her for being weak. Alba pulls the trigger, hitting him in the shoulder. Enraged, the man charges at her, knocking her down as they both tumble into the tent. In the chaos, Dedak grabs a nearby farming tool and attacks the man, but the man blocks the strike with a pitchfork. A brutal fight ensues between Dedak and the man, with both using makeshift weapons. The man gains the upper hand and retrieves the gun, while Dedak arms himself with a scythe. As they fight, they hear Kai's cries, which momentarily distracts both of them. Seizing the moment, Dedak launches a final attack, fatally wounding the man with the scythe. However, the man fires a shot, hitting Dedak. The man collapses, and Dedak, mortally wounded, stumbles toward Kai. With his last breath, Dedak kisses his son's forehead before collapsing in Alba's arms. Alba, in tears, desperately tries to stop Dedak's bleeding, but it's too late. Dedak dies in her arms. That night, Alba mourns Dedak's death. She builds a makeshift raft and places his body on it, setting him adrift at sea. As the years go by, Alba and Kai remain on the island, learning to survive on their own. Kai grows into a strong, healthy boy, inheriting his father's love for football. One afternoon, after playing with a ball, Kai asks Alba to see her phone. She hesitates, worried he might break it, as it contains precious memories. Instead, she pulls him onto her lap, and together they watch old video diaries of Dedak, remembering his bravery and love. As the sun sets, Alba kisses her son on the forehead, vowing to tell him all the stories of his father. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.